The Decorah Vikings are coming off a 35-6 win over Charles City last Friday night. Head coach Pat Trewin joining us. And coach, you scored on your first 5 possessions and never looked back, taking care of business last Friday night. What made you the most happy other than the result?
Well, we were able to execute in that first half and really all phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, and make the plays that we needed to make. And we made them often like we really wanted to. We were physical up front again on defense, holding them to very few rushing yards. It's good to get a team victory. You get a couple losses in a row and it doesn't feel good, and you want to keep fighting and get that victory. So all 3 phases of the game were very solid for us.
And I know one thing you mentioned last week was you wanted to run the ball better and you wanted to stop the run better than you did, rushing 114 yards and 5.4 per tote. And defensively, you held Charles City to just those 19 yards and only 1.1 yard average. How were you able to do that?
Well, on defense, Coach Tungan always has a great scheme together. It's really getting off the ball, get off the ball and on offense, take your proper steps. Your first step, your second step, and be physical with it gives you the best chance. And then backs have to finish the play, whether it's the quarterback or the running back. They've got to finish their run. Possessing the ball is very important. Being able to move the sticks, and that we weren't able to do in the last few weeks without throwing it. So being able to find some rush yards is really, really important. Execution in the blocking scheme was improved. We still got room for improvement, no doubt.
And especially with running the football as it relates to offensive line play. Obviously, offensive line improvement is individual in a little bit of a way, but the improvement has to come as a collective unit. Does it take a little while to make sure those 5 guys up front and sometimes a 6th guy, when you throw in that H-back, are working together as a collective unit?
Yeah, it really does. And we have a couple people that hadn't played there in that blocking unit really at all for several years. We did have 3 guys coming back, but 2 of the guys are that's not been their thing in the past. So it takes a little bit to get there to understand the scheme, and then also to be able to really get into the schemes of the other teams, execute those things too. It's not an easy place to play, as one old coach used to say. Cornerback and defensive back is maybe the hardest place to play on the field, at least in the old schemes, and then offensive line was right there with it, because there's so much to try to understand and so much to execute. But hopefully we can continue to gel. Got a new look this week. They're running a different front. They run an odd front, and we need to be able to make some adjustments and get after this Mason City team.
And Keenan Tyler statistically had a very good night at quarterback, throwing for 3 touchdowns and running for 2 more. How has Keenan evolved over the first 4 weeks of the season?
Yeah, Keenan's settled into the position pretty well. He'd been injured a couple years ago, so he didn't get to play that quarterback spot or really at all. And then last year, he was playing a lot of our H-back and being a backup quarterback. So he hadn't gotten as many reps at quarterback. So he's been able to settle into the position. He understands where we're looking, where our eyes are going with the offense, and he's able to execute our schemes pretty well. So just being able to get out there, be calm. It's been, we want him to play linebacker, and he will play linebacker, but he'd been kind of nicked up there and couldn't play him there. But I think that's probably helped him a little bit on offense last week, where he was really at pretty close to full strength, and then he's able to execute the offensive scheme, stay calm, and be kind of fresh out there.
And this week, you take on a Mason City team that I got a note from Scott Pierce last night that last time Decorah and Mason City played each other in football was 1930. No word on whether Posty was coaching the sophomores at that time. I don't know about that, but an absolutely new opponent this year. What do you know about the Mohawks? What can you tell us about the Mohawks?
Well, when you watch them on film, they got a few pretty big guys that are very, very good football players and very physical. They're impact players. Their quarterback is really slings the ball, has a really wonderful arm and a pretty good sense of timing. And then in their defense is disruptive in many ways. So they're going to be a challenging opponent. Yeah, they've they've not gotten the victories that you might see, but they've played really a tough schedule. Some really top level teams. Yeah, they beat Charles City pretty good, but boy, the other teams they've played are pretty highly ranked too. So I think we compare a lot. You know, we haven't been able to beat the highly ranked teams, and they haven't been able to beat the highly ranked teams either. But then when we get against a club that we should win, we do it. So I think it'll be a pretty even matchup.
All right, Coach. Here's hoping you can keep your kids healthy. Here's hoping it can be a happy homecoming Friday night in Decorah. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, Darren.
Pat Trewin, head coach of the Decorah Vikings. It's the Vikings and the Mohawks this Friday night for homecoming in Decorah.